This is Metabolic Radio, the podcast dedicated to keeping you informed when it comes to everything fitness. My name is Taylor Empey, and with the help of my co-host Shane Pace, we aim to expose the truths about the health and fitness industry. The information and suggestions given in this podcast should not be considered as clinical or medical advice. Consult with a physician before implementing any information provided on this podcast. And here we are.
Yes, we are.
With another episode of Metabolic Radio.
14,000 steps.
No way. You didn't take that many steps.
14,272.
Oh, yeah?
For real.
Today?
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
I'll show
you. You drove today, right?
To Brigham City. I didn't go very far.
Oh. Well, good for you. You beat me on the steps.
Yes, I did.
But I got you on the body fat percentage.
Okay, you know what? That's always going to be the case, probably. Unless you know what? Liposuction. I'm going to get in one of those
Anabolics.
Devices.
Anabolics.
Sweet. We've made our decision. Done.
We're working on our line of anabolics, the metabolic anabolics.
The anabolic metabolic.
No, just kidding. We're not going to do that.
No, we would not do that.
Today,
but if I did, today,
I was gonna say, what do you think about fitness trends, like the top fitness trends that are going on these days? Because I have pulled up here an interesting survey that was conducted by the American College of Sports Medicine, which is one of the more reputable
certifications
and organizations that's involved with health and fitness and research and things like that. Mm-hmm. But what do you think are the top fitness trends that have been picked up? Good or bad?
Zumba.
Oh, yeah. I'd say I'd seen a lot of that. You think that's one of the top, though?
No. Because it would be under a different title. I would say group classes.
But, dude, group classes, like group training or group classes?
Group training.
Because group classes has been,
Yeah.
80s true. And 90s and recent.
Doesn't mean it's not trending.
Trending. Hashtag.
Yes, this is true.
We both said, that's creepy.
That really was.
We're on the same wavelength.
We always seem to be.
We're on the same. We technically kind of are. Like,
we're
recording audio right now.
Right. Much closer.
No, I would say before looking at this list, we'll give you the whole list from the results of this survey here in a sec, but I would have thought that group personal training would be the top. One of the top 5 trending.
I would have thought it was number one because
maybe top 3.
You start talking about, and we'll go old school with Tabo because that was big. That was huge.
Is it pronounced Tabo? Because I've always heard it called Taibo.
I know, but that's because people don't
like Taekwondo versus Taekwondo.
Yeah,
which it's technically Taekwondo, and even practitioners of Taekwondo say it wrong.
Yeah, correct.
Stupid.
You being one that just pronounced it wrong. But not that you did it.
I did it in the context of incorrectly doing it on purpose.
Yes. And we are both affiliated with that specific brand of martial art.
Uh-huh.
Anyhow.
So, yeah, but I would have thought that group personal training would be trending because of
I would think
specific
top-notch.
Specific companies and chains that I could think that have blown up over the last, I don't know how many years, but recent years.
I have another one.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah, continue what you're saying.
No, you're good. Like group personal training, meaning things like CrossFit, Orange Theory Fitness, Fit Body Boot Camp.
Yep.
And
I'd have thought it was number one.
Those are
I would have thought that was number one as well.
Yeah.
I'm technically not looking at the list, but I have a vague.
It's not number one.
I know this.
That's what I would. That's what surprised me. But actually, in retrospect, I'm not surprised with what is actually top. But what was the other one you thought was going to be? What would you say would be the other top?
DVD based training.
Yeah, infomercial products.
Yeah, like Beachbody,
but programs.
Specifically, I could throw out Beachbody.
Because it's blown. Like I don't
blown
know.
up.
Maybe sure. I don't know. Were there really any training programs marketed on television before Beachbody programs like P90X? Or was it more infomercial products?
There was actually infomercial products from Beachbody before P90X. Power 90, which was quite old, actually. It's been around for a long time.
Because I was wondering if they were the catalyst to that shift. Because now you have
all
these other trainers. Like, I can't even remember her name, but the girl that does like the portion control meal plan.
She's
Is she Beachbody? Oh, okay.
yeah.
So they're dominating that market then.
She's Beachbody for sure.
Okay, so all these trainers are probably Beachbody affiliates.
Oh,
then.
yeah. Most of them are. Yeah, absolutely. She what is her name? Autumn. Yeah, she's a Beachbody gal.
Okay.
She actually did one in conjunction.
Sean T is, right?
Sean T is.
Because he did Insanity.
Yeah, he did Insanity. He did his last
Hip Hop Abs.
Yeah, Hip Hop Abs actually is one.
Yeah.
Size is, I think, his latest one is Size.
Okay, that's funny.
CIZE.
How do you get Size doing calisthenics?
He's actually pretty thick.
Yeah, but he doesn't only do calisthenics.
No, but
dude, the majority of his training is probably in a weight room.
He actually, I would actually think that's similar to true. If not, I think he does a lot of bodyweight stuff. Have you ever seen Asylum by him?
Program or what?
It's a program that he put together.
No,
it's sports related stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's actually pretty intense.
Home based.
Yeah, they put out. I mean, he does drills.
Okay.
He does a lot of sports related drills for like football type stuff.
That's cool.
And it's actually pretty slick. I'm not talking it up, but I'm going to say that I'm
not.
No,
there's benefits to these home programs.
Right.
Adherence and long term results that could be argued, and effectiveness because they're not dealing with a lot of weights. Like P90X deals with weights
quite a bit,
which is great, especially for
He's
someone just getting into it.
Too,
and yeah, I mean that's besides Taekwondo, because I started martial arts for the sake of martial arts, not for fitness,
right.
And I later got into fitness. P90X was the first fitness thing I ever did. And it was hard.
Oh, it is. It's harsh.
Yeah, but then I got into weight training, and I was like, yeah, I don't need P90X.
Well, and I'm going to tell you this, and this saddens me, and we'll talk about it because I actually did want to do a full episode on this, but I don't think it hasn't been validated for a full episode. But the Xbox Fitness stuff.
Oh,
a lot of that stuff
is through the Kinect
through the Kinect. It was on the Xbox One, not the Xbox 360, but it was on the Xbox One because they both have a Kinect. And wow, is my voice dying? But it's dying.
Oh, really?
Yes. Next year they're going to kill it.
Well, dude,
and I'm not
here's
happy about
here's
that,
another
actually.
thing that's probably, well, I don't know. I couldn't say, I'm not an economist, but that I would think would kill a lot of infomercial programs. On demand, Apple TV, and
they're doing
other
on demand. They've already started.
Beachbody has.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no.
But I mean,
they have a pretty good service.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it transitions to that because there's free on demand a yoga channel that Casey does, and I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff. It's with the implementation of smart TVs and the Apple TV.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
coming.
Why would you buy a program?
Right. No, I agree with that for sure.
I mean, sometimes you have to buy them on there,
right.
and then
which makes sense. But see, that's what I'm saying though. So Xbox Fitness, the things that were cool about it was, even though it wasn't a really detailed watch of what you were doing.
And Wii Fit, right?
Wii Fit was at least the starting point.
Yeah. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing some
of that. Yeah, it was on the Wii.
Like golf,
with the controller
swing,
stuff,
and tennis and
stuff.
stuff.
And they did
actually
planking.
It's actually a good aerobic workout.
It's not bad. For what it is, it's not bad.
Yeah. For getting kids active.
It's something. It's better than nothing.
Bringing families together.
But yeah, no, the biggest, like I said, the biggest thing that bothers me on that note is
bumped the mic, sorry.
Take it. Is I think that Xbox, let me rephrase that. Microsoft did something very good with Xbox Fitness, and it saddens me that it's going to be basically killed because they don't want to keep it going
forward. So, do you think that it's dying because of disinterest, or that they did something wrong in their promoting of it?
No, I don't think it's. I think it's been promoted fine. I think they don't want to put out more content.
People aren't. Oh, really? So
Absolutely.
You think they're cutting it? Well, they wouldn't cut it if it was profitable. So they must not. It must not have affected their sales.
No, I think it's too much work.
Yeah,
I think
not worth the
bang
investment.
for the buck. Yeah, it's got to be investment based, but I think bang for the buck, they don't want to perpetuate it, because doing so, they have to continually find programs and expand it.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want to do that. I think
it's way easier to produce a single game.
Exactly right. And I don't know why. This, in my opinion, what they ought to do is they need to put it out on game type scenario on discs and let people buy it that want to keep it. Because there's still a big market.
Quit
for it.
producing new stuff and just
who cares? Who cares
mass
about
produce what's already been created?
Right. Who cares about new stuff all the time? I mean, people will burn out eventually, but they've got
it's the same concept of offering a P90X program and
exactly
just redoing it.
Right. Which there's nothing wrong with.
Yeah.
And so my opinion is they should put that out that way and they should go forward. It saddens me that they're cutting it, but I know that they are because I have it. So I've tried
Interesting.
it. I actually I purchased the Xbox Fitness version of Insanity to see how it was. I purchased the Xbox One, the Xbox Fitness P90X version.
Oh, do they have one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and they have a few other things. They tied in the Zumba stuff. I didn't buy that one personally, but
yeah, you totally did.
I might have. But anyway, and they got yoga. They got a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it saddens me that stuff went. But that's another thing that I can see being a big trend because a lot of people have gone that direction, especially online. I can see that for sure.
So should we go down the list and
let's
talk about the ones that the survey came out with?
As long as you don't do it again, I've got to throw out my little jabs at Sue. As long as you don't do it in an organized fashion,
I'm going to totally do it. I'm not even going to do it backwards. I'm just going to
you just pick random ones.
Yeah, totally,
absolutely.
No, but then
kidding.
People won't even know what actually was the top trend.
That's true. And the other side of that would mess with you just as much as it would anybody.
For those of you, the last 2 episodes we've thrown out a reference to Sue. If you don't know who she is, get on the Metabolic Radio private
Sue's
forum.
Awesome.
She's awesome.
All right, I said that once. Sue,
she's
you got the
like,
awesome vote
I
for me.
called her the other day the matriarch of Metabolic Radio.
Yes, she is amazing.
So she's a great person. And if you're not part of our Metabolic Radio private forum, get on Facebook and type that in, Metabolic Radio private forum, into the search bar. Request to join. We'll add you, and you'll get access to some exclusive free advice, and you can send us direct Q&As for our Q&A episodes.
Yeah, and I will say that the people that are in there are all cool. I like pretty much everybody that actually is active.
Yeah. All right, so number 1. So this is a survey that was conducted by the American College of Sports Medicine for this year in terms of what is the most trending fitness, what are the largest fitness trends in chronological order. And we just want to kind of I was actually surprised to see some of them were in the ranking that they were, and we'll just talk about the different aspects of them.
Number one shocked me, actually.
Initially it did, but then in retrospect it didn't.
Makes sense.
Because
it makes sense. I just wasn't ready for it, so it shocked me.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying.
Number 1 most popular fitness trend for this year is wearable technology.
Yep.
So these are your Apple Watches, your Jawbones, your Garmins, your Misfits, your Fitbits, GPS tracking devices that basically have different metrics, but usually they have built-in pedometer, which is a step counter. They've got estimations for metabolic calorie burn and that kind of thing, and that's really just based off of the traditional formulas and equations that have been established for estimating caloric expenditure. Other cool things, sleep trackers, that kind of stuff. So in retrospect, I'm not really surprised because
it makes sense.
Well, yeah, because it's a minimal investment. There's self-accountability, but you're not accountable necessarily to other people unless you take advantage of the social aspect,
which I did.
And maybe that's the majority of the reason why they sold. Maybe people that they tap into all these other intricate apps, and there's a social community aspect to it virtually.
That kind of came after.
Did it?
It started to get big, and that's the reason why they went social.
That makes sense.
Because Fitbit was kind of its own thing and going its own way before it was really known, at least in my vision, as a social thing. It just, you wanted to track your steps and kind of see. I think it goes with the fit life. People just are perceiving it as a move towards the fitness life, and so they're trying to take it.
I think, to be honest, I think this is an incredible investment to make, and I'm honestly,
I think they're getting better.
I haven't bought one just because I generally stay in great shape already because I'm self-accountable. But
what do you say?
But I'm more in shape than you.
That hurts me.
He was saying, "What are you saying?" Because he's holding up his
Microsoft
Microsoft Fit Tracker band.
Yeah, I have Microsoft Band, the second generation of it.
You need it more than me.
You're cold person. Cold.
No, but I'm highly considering getting one. I'm just debating on which one first. I'm doing my research right now to see which one is
best one.
Is more. So why would you say Microsoft is the best one?
It has the best sensors.
For heart rate, sleep, what?
Yep.
Why is it the best sensor? Different technology?
It's more accurate according to what I'm seeing across the board. I have a few people that I know that have it as well.
What is the technology it uses to sense?
It's still infrared based. I mean,
is that how all of them are?
Yeah,
I haven't looked into it.
This right here, actually, I'm showing the back of my.
And it detects the movement in your pulse and things.
Yes, it'll do it through either side.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's this has a lot.
Because
I have
heard that the Fitbit is and I've looked at it because a lot of my clients have it. It seems like an impressive device, and it's information.
Overall,
they forward me the
good.
Weekly update emails they get, and they're tracking stats and stuff, which is great. But the heart rate sensor is infamous for being very inaccurate because it's supposed to only track your heart rate throughout the day during NEAT, non-exercise activity, thermogenesis.
Well, the surge is different. Surge is not like that.
Okay.
This is closer to the surge.
Because every time I have my clients check their heart rate when they have a Fitbit, when they're in a workout, it's like so off. Like we're doing, way off. So
yeah, see, this is actually pretty accurate
for in a workout.
Having tried it, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I could show you actually, but we can't do it in such a way that they can see it. So
I think it's great though because there's been a lot of scientific research that's been conducted on wearable technology recently, and it shows dramatic improvements to program adherence and better results.
Oh yes,
and better perceived experience in weight loss interventions
because it gives them goals.
Yeah, because it gives them goals. It gives them prompts. It brings awareness, so they're making better, healthier, health conscious decisions throughout the day.
Right.
If you tie it into the social aspect, now you're getting prompts from a community that is supporting you. Kind of like when we talked about the whole life challenge, I think is what it was called. That was brought up in the past Q&A.
Yep. By Sue, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, if you look at the research, almost all of it, hands down, supports the use of wearable technology for better results and more consistent adherence and long-term results. So if you are like, hey, should I buy one of these? Is it a waste of money? The statistics kind of show that you're going to see a way better long-term adherence to a fitness lifestyle if you do get this, if you do tend to struggle with that. So like I said, I haven't bought one yet because I'm involved in this this 100% of the time, but would I benefit from it? I probably still would.
I've had multiples. I haven't had a Fitbit yet, but I've had Jawbones move.
I had a Jawbone and mine broke, so
I had a Jawbone move.
Fast.
Right. Jawbone moves were pretty inexpensive, so I got one because I liked their software. Their software is actually pretty slick.
I like their software. I loved the sleep tracking aspect because you don't realize how little sleep you actually get until you track it. And I mean, obviously, they're approximate, sure. Like they may not be entirely accurate.
This one's closer.
But you like, I would set apart an 8-hour window to go to sleep. You know, it takes me 10, 15 minutes to fall asleep.
Jawbones is based on movement.
So then I fall asleep, then I'm in light sleep. Takes me a while to get into REM sleep. I get into a REM sleep cycle, then you're going back to light sleep, then you wake up. I was having 20 minutes to fully fall asleep. I was having smaller REM cycles. I was getting interrupted. I was getting up, going to the bathroom, those kind of things, interrupting my sleep 3 times throughout the night.
13.
And then
13 to 16.
Wow, for you?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And then let's say you get to bed late or whatever. So basically, I was whittling it down, and my average sleep, real sleep, was actually only getting to be 5 or 6 hours, even though I set apart an 8-hour window.
Right.
And so it's crazy. You think you're getting enough sleep, but you don't actually know what kind of quality sleep you're getting. So it's actually interesting to see that.
Right.
But mine, I mean, I got it as a gift. It was the Jawbone. Is it a Plus? Jawbone Up, that one.
Yeah, the original one.
And I think it was the second upgrade. I don't think it was the first one.
I got the Jawbone Up 3 because I wanted the heart rate. That's all I really was worried about.
Yeah, see, the one I had didn't have heart rate.
Right, and the 3 had a heart rate. So I saw it and I was excited because I was like, "Ooh, sweet, that's what I wanted. It's within the price range I want to get." So I got it, and I was disappointed because it took a heart rate once a day.
Well, mine...
Listen to this.
Oh,
no
yeah,
joke.
you told me this. I
Yeah,
remember.
once a day, and you didn't know when. You didn't control it. It did it on its own.
Yeah, that's weird.
I thought that was crazy.
I
and it
saw
was just,
problems
it was
with
hype.
with the Jawbone synchronizing.
Yeah, I
even
have
though there's a
that
prompt
problem.
button.
Yes, I have that problem with my move. That's why I don't use it.
It wouldn't sync to the app.
I can't connect it to mine.
Hardly ever.
I can't. I
wanted it to. At
well, I
least.
used to use it all the time, and my move stopped connecting to my phone. And so because the battery went
through
bad.
Bluetooth, doesn't
Yes,
it?
yeah, it's through Bluetooth. This one's through Bluetooth. The original is not.
Oh, okay.
It actually plugged in.
Oh,
But-
you're right. Yeah.
And that one actually would have synced because it plugs in. It's direct.
But
the
mine-
Bluetooth,
mine broke after I was having problems like 4 months into it.
Yep.
And it broke completely after 6 months.
See, and I'll tell you, I have been really happy with every aspect of this. The original Microsoft band I had was actually pretty good overall, but it didn't connect as well to Android. This is the only device that is, at least when I got it. I haven't checked for a long time, but the only one that connected to all the different types of phones that are really popular. Windows Phone, Android, and iOS. It's the only band that does all three. So most of them don't.
So it's versatile.
So it's more versatile, right? To be able to hit almost any kind of phone device. And when it does sleep, it does movement. It also checks your heart rate, so it knows when you're awake. It's much more accurate. The way this works, it also does UV. The Microsoft Band 2 checks UV, and it checks altitude changes. So
really?
It'll do stairs.
Oh, there's a lot of them that start doing that.
I know that.
How does it estimate that?
It's based on altitude because this actually.
So it's an altimeter. Is that what it's called?
It does.
Built in?
It has that built in. It has gyro. I mean, it has every aspect to it.
I love gyros.
They're good.
You ever had a gyro?
They're good.
They're tasty.
Yep. But yeah, no,
Greek food.
I absolutely would highly recommend this band.
Cool.
It's not perfect, but it's working that way, and the next generation is supposed to be coming out soon, and I want to test it. But I am a fan of this.
Do you have anything else you want to say about bands?
We can go through and talk about them. Like
I just want to make
for a
sure we
whole
give
episode.
people enough information about the top trends. Because
No. I don't want to keep talking bands. I want to talk the trends. I'm just saying we should probably do an episode on these eventually.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that in depth with
multiples,
a review or some kind of thing like that.
Yeah, like I said, this one is my favorite, and anyone who's listening to this currently now knows that Microsoft Band is my favorite.
You're my favorite.
I'm a fitness tracker. That's cool. I'm a great fitness tracker. I do well.
Second,
I can use notebooks. I can track fitness.
You are pretty good at tracking.
Absolutely.
But the second top trend, according to this survey, is bodyweight training.
Which I think is cool, actually.
Again, I was surprised, but now in retrospect, again, I'm not, because two of the biggest things that I can think of that have influenced this, especially in the last year that I've seen over and over again, are what you informed me about. I didn't know their nickname, but Barstarzz.
Yes.
The people that do crazy calisthenics and gymnastic type
stuff.
moves with their body and borderline contortionist type stuff in suspended positions that are like acrobatic as well. And one trainer in specific, and like kudos to her for blowing it up and building this immense following through bodyweight training. But I can never pronounce her name correctly, but it's Kayla Steins or Itzines or whatever. It's like ITSINES or something like that. Anyway, she's huge on Instagram. She's sold tons of programs. They're all bodyweight. I think some of them have some light weights, but it's very catered towards like young women who want to like get the whole quote unquote toned, like the super like small lean endurance muscle. She's on Instagram. It's huge. But a lot of the young girls or young adult women that I know already have her programs or have asked me about her programs.
That's cool.
Or follow her and that kind of stuff. So
bodyweight stuff,
like, cool. It's cool for her carving out a niche. I mean, is it ultimately like the best approach? No, but it's a resistance approach, and I mean, it's not bad. I follow a lot of people on like YouTube. I find it cool. I really think it's impressive. I want to be more active on Instagram, but it's just one of those time things. I totally follow. I use it more of a to follow other pages thing for myself. But I do post periodically. I want to get that more frequent. But again, as far as posting, because I suck. Yeah.
I'm not good at that.
But
I'm working on trying to become good at it, but I'm not.
Yeah. I think the biggest, at least that I've seen, because I haven't looked too deeply into this niche, but the biggest other bodyweight person that I've seen that in regards to Barstarzz is Frank Medrano.
And that's style.
Sick.
Yeah,
sick
he was
level
the first
of
one I
fitness.
saw. He was the first one I saw doing that.
I don't even remember where I saw it, but
I saw
the
it
guy
too.
makes
I
it
may
look
have
like
shown
there's
it to
no
you.
gravity.
I may have shown it to you because I was way into that when I first started coming to the gym we met at.
Yeah.
So
check out his videos. They're pretty cool. Frank Medrano. Anything else on bodyweight training?
The only thing I'm going to say is from my fitness pal, my friend Bree.
Yeah.
Bree? I have no, not a Bree. She's in Rock Springs, but
okay.
This Bree is from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I have not forgot that I'm trying to figure out a time when we can discuss bodyweight.
Oh yeah, there's. I mean,
that's what she'd like to do.
I didn't mean
like
to
do.
breeze over it just barely.
No, you're fine.
For the right for any person, if done correctly, it can be super effective to keep
Absolutely.
you fit. You know, are you going to get as muscular as you would with resistance training? No. Are you going to elevate your metabolism as much as you would with resistance training? No. But I mean, heck, it's a really good modality if that's all that you have, or that you want to leverage it more, because it's functional. It's body weight. It's still is dynamic. Like there's a lot of ways that you can leverage body weight training to be a really good protocol.
For sure. The only reason why I bring that up is because Bree has been asking me to work with her on
how to do that
on doing body weight stuff.
Does she not have any equipment?
No, she doesn't want to go to the gym.
Is it intimidation factor?
No, it's more she just wants the weights is a little bit on the heavier side than she wants, so she wants to go body weight first.
Yeah, no, that's I think
which I think is a great thing to start. You don't have to
take
stay,
all my
you can
clients
stay in forever, but
I take all my clients through basic bodyweight functional movements before I put them under resistance anyway, to make sure that they can actually handle specific movement patterns.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Restrictions. You see a lot of restrictions doing base bodyweight movements, so you can actually see it. But.
Yeah. Cool. Third top trend of this year is high intensity interval training. I think we're seeing a lot of that. I think intensity in general.
Well, P90X, you already brought it up. Insanity.
Yeah.
Those are high intensity. The problem I've got with things like Insanity,
but interval specifically would be
when you're talking Insanity, it's the opposite of high intensity interval training, because you do
that's constant.
You do really constant high intensity to slow or rest, and then back into high intensity, and it's extreme long durations.
Yeah, I mean it's a type of interval, but I would say the person's doing it don't have enough recovery.
That's what
where it's a constant high intensity.
Now, high intensity interval training is actually been proven to be extremely effective. So, there's a legitimate reason why it should be on this list.
So, how do you feel about high intensity interval training versus low to moderate? Because high intensity interval training burns more total energy expelled in a single workout.
Yep.
However, it's a much higher percentage of actual food energy versus fat energy. It's about roughly, depending on the science you're looking at, 80% glycogen, like food energy burning versus about 20% fat burning, because of the elevated where the heart rates are at and the energy pathways being utilized.
In theory, that makes sense. I haven't read that.
And then lower intensity tends to be more kind of the opposite, almost 80%. And these are rough numbers, people, but
that's duration
more fat burning than food.
I sounded like 1,000 miles away for a second there. That's more of a duration thing when you're talking about that for them, because as we've talked about for fibers and such, the longer you go, the more you're going to start going into triglycerides.
Yeah, but the intensity has to decrease as you do that.
Yeah, which makes sense for sure. But that being said, we've already discussed that I'm a believer in steady state, done correctly. I think steady state can be.
Oh
used
my God!
well.
Did you just say you're a believer in steady state cardio?
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. Every time we've talked about aerobic, you're like, no,
I'm not a believer in aerobics as a lone beast.
Yeah,
I'm a believer that you use it in conjunction with resistance training
for sure.
After
me too.
and you do it for a certain length of time, and you don't go
not
beyond
to
that.
excess.
Yes.
And not too intense.
If you do it for about 20 minutes.
No, it was just the
it's very
first
effective.
time you ever actually candidly acknowledged
I'm
aerobic training of a sort.
No, in fairness for the body, for specific body types, I absolutely believe it's not necessarily essential, but close.
Oh, it totally helps.
It helps us
on
stack.
top of a properly structured resistance program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for
absolutely.
sure.
Now, granted, I believe high intensity interval is better.
Why?
According to what I've read, now granted, I haven't gone through studies on it, but I've heard a lot about studies and the things that I've read. I just haven't read the studies.
Mm-hmm.
It actually is very, 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 very good at burning fat.
But see, and that's where the argument comes into play. Because if you monitor high intensity training versus low intensity, let's say on
which makes sense.
A VO2 max
right,
machine or whatever,
right, because the energy expenditure and the
you literally watch
oxygen.
it chart when it flips over.
I can
see
that.
Those different pathways.
I can believe that completely. The reason why I think it does have a better effect. Gosh, I'm gonna cough. You've got sprinters. Let's do it from an easy viewpoint. You have long distance marathon type runners and you have sprinters. Sprinters build more muscle and they are usually more ripped than a long distance runner. The reason why is because of how they do their
sprinters
their
tend
routines.
to carry more body fat than long distance.
They do. Don't get me wrong.
They have more muscle for sure.
I'm not denying that, but they get bigger and they get stronger.
Yeah.
And high interval is developed in such a way and used in such a way that it would cause them to gain more muscle mass as well as burn fat. And so in conjunction...
For a better metabolism, I absolutely
that's where
agree
I'm going
with
with
you.
This.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I'm going that direction.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's better. It makes sense to me, though.
Yeah, because I guess in a short-term perspective, if you're looking at it, doing high-intensity interval training would be more effective if the total amount, even though the percentage of fat burned is less, but the total amount of energy expelled was more than the total amount of the higher percentage of fat burned from low intensity activity.
I would agree with that.
That would make sense.
That would make sense.
But what I find is that, well, at least with the average client, is that high intensity is something that people tend to not want to engage in, especially on their own.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. So that I tend to just gravitate them more towards the low intensity NEAT, just getting their activity up.
See, I think NEAT's actually good too.
Honestly, man,
I'm surprised NEAT's not listed on this list. Actually,
it's developing. It's becoming more apparent, but I still think it's only something that's known amongst professionals.
I would agree with you.
I haven't seen anything out there about NEAT.
Jake Wilson talks about it a lot.
Yeah, but he's a professional. And how many average people follow Jake Wilson?
Oh, no, that's a good point.
You know,
he's the man. You guys should be.
No, he is. But I think you're right that'll be a trend in the future once more of it gets out.
It's got to be.
But it's so much
realization.
easier when I talk to clients about. I recommend a specific training regimen for resistance training. I don't even have them in the gym every day of the week, and I just say, okay, we're going to shoot for this step count goal. You're here, we want you to increase to here. Here's your first milestone. We're going to go up to this week, and then we're going to increase by 1,000 steps this week, and then you get them up to a certain perspective, and you just watch it literally fall off of them. Because it's not that intimidating. It's not that hard. It literally just takes some time commitment. Well, it's less confusing than trying to understand a resistance workout on their own when they're just a beginner. So you train them a few times a week with a legit program and protocols, and then you get their non-exercise activity up
right.
every other day of the week. Just go on hikes. Like given I know Wes, one of our listeners, went into a lot of high intensity training and other types of training.
Right.
But right now, every single week, if not multiple times a week, he's posting a picture on top of the mountains over here. Right. He's hiking on a weekly basis.
Right. Activity is the key to.
And that's a little bit
anyway.
more, depending on the incline. That could be more intense.
For sure.
It's drawn out. It's more.
Well, it's not high intensity interval training. It's intense because you're pushing harder.
I'd say it's
pills.
more constant.
It's a
constant steady state moderate versus low. But same concept. I mean, you could literally walk yourself lean if you combine that with the right resistance program, because that's going to promote your metabolism, increase your energy expenditure, and sustain lean muscle mass,
right?
Which will only help you burn more when you're doing that lower intensity activity.
For sure, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a big believer, with the exception, and I'm going to use body types because it's the easiest way to go about this. With the exception of an ectomorph, especially a pure ectomorph, I'm a big believer in steady state for a mesomorph all the way through an endomorph, because it helps their bodies, which will hold more fat, to burn that after they do resistance training. If they do it beforehand, it detracts from resistance training. It does,
because you want to utilize your available energy during your resistance program first.
Absolutely.
And once you've depleted a lot of that glycogen, creatine, and everything like that, your body has an easier time shifting over, especially because the nature of the activity calls for to burn triglycerides and more endurance fibers.
For sure.
But it'll only help if you do your aerobic training post weights.
Correct.
If you're going for sustaining muscle and burning fat. Now, if you're an athlete that's trying to perform, like an endurance athlete that's trying to perform with races and marathon training and all that you're looking at performance, and you would want to change that to be a little different. But
and the weird thing is, in that recommendation for someone who's doing marathons, I would highly recommend they do HIIT.
Yeah,
I would have them do
you want to
HIIT
know
first,
why?
And then I would have them do steady state later,
because you get these
not in conjunction. They'd have
you separate your HIIT training, separate your steady state, and separate your resistance.
I would
still do it.
Well, you can do resistance too. That's true.
No,
I won't take away.
You should, because
it makes sense.
Because I've known multiple marathoners who've placed like top place in local races and have done it for decades, and are trainers themselves, and they have said to do a resistance training regimen whilst also doing your marathon training to sustain muscle mass, and it actually helps your muscle recovery and helps prevent fatigue, because it can take a beating, even though you're not necessarily doing as much endurance with it.
Makes sense.
As you would when you're running. Your muscles learn to take a beating. Then you do the HIIT training, because you're going to run into hills. Depending on where you are geographically, most of these races are going to run into hills.
And it'll be bursts.
And the men and women that are endurance athletes that train for HIIT blow over those hills like they're nothing.
Yep.
And everyone else gets gas behind them because all they've done is endurance training.
Yep. And usually they don't do it with any change of resistance.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where, when you're talking about sport specific versus just aesthetics,
it changes the nature.
Yeah. You want to follow that law of specificity and just do everything to a T as close to mimicking your sport as you can.
Right.
Or things that will translate to helping you be better at that in that scenario. Then the next one is actually strength training, which I'm glad to see on this list. It probably should be higher, in my opinion. But I have seen a dramatic increase in popularity with strength training as personal training industry has become more
That's been
common.
Fairly consistent for years, though.
Dude, but think about it. With social media,
it's still going to be high on the list. Anything that dealing with
still
fitness,
is what?
It's going to be high on the list.
No, that's what I'm saying. But
it's always going to be on the list.
I know that, but I'm saying I've noticed it spiking, the interest in strength training.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Is I think it'll always be in the top 5, well, at least the top 10.
Yeah,
because
I would be very surprised if it ever dropped. If anything, it's going to go up
since it got there. Because I don't like I said, when we talked historically, if you go back 1960s, 1950s, it was in a very small group that was actually recognized. And so that's why I'm saying that I think it's going to stay there from this point on. I don't think it'll be the top necessarily, but I think it'll always be the top 5.
More personal trainers getting out, more people becoming interested in that, more science being researched, like we talked about in that episode where we covered talked about how a lot of research was done on aerobics. And now there's a lot of research being done on resistance training. So a lot of stuff is coming out, and people are realizing, resistance training or strength training is not necessarily this bodybuilder only type thing. This is for everyone. This is for, capable elderly individuals. This is for women. To help, great for preventing osteoporosis.
Yep, absolutely.
Treatments for rheumatoid arthritis. It's great for building muscle and a great physique. It's a better for a healthy metabolism and overall long-term fat burning. So I think it's becoming more popular now. But especially since there's a ton of information online, and now the internet is causing a huge boom.
Absolutely, YouTube has been a massive boon for people to get into this because they don't feel as afraid. They're not intimidated because they understand at least what the movements are like.
Yeah.
Before they didn't know what the movements even were. So
yeah. So it's great to see that that's there. I'd like to see it climb a little bit higher. The last one for the top 5 trends that are going on right now over the last year in fitness in America is where is it? Well, it says educated, certified, and experienced fitness professionals.
for real?
Meaning that, let's see, this
Actually training with a trainer?
I'm reading. There continues to be exponential growth of educational programs for health and fitness professionals. So
is it talking about the idea of becoming a trainer, or is it talking about working with a trainer?
It talks about education programs for like schooling, it's in more demand. U.S. Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts employment of fitness trainers and instructors is expected to grow by 13% by 2022. So it's a lot of like industry stats. It's basically saying that personal training, the marketplace is recognizing along with these other components, high intensity interval training, strength, all that, people are realizing the value of those, but they don't know them. So they're going to either
Trainers
get educated as a
I would
trainer,
say,
or they're demanding the education from a trainer. So the industry is calling for more trainers. So there's more educational programs being put out to educate trainers, and there's more people becoming them.
I can believe that. That makes sense. That makes sense from everything that you and I have, since we met, have watched things happen. So.
Well, and from an economic standpoint, it makes perfect sense because
sure.
of, like we talked about with obesity, diabetes, and then now if these other things are trending, fitness is becoming more top of mind. It's becoming more mainstream, which means people are realizing, hey, I kind of need some help. Yeah, this wearable is helping, but I don't know what I'm doing in the gym. So I need, and I think, like we've talked about how training isn't necessarily a regulated industry, very much so at least. People are realizing there are reputable personal trainers out there.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
Yep. I just wish there was a way to tell that someone's reputable right off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, and again, as the marketplace becomes more familiar with these things, hopefully people listen to our episode. And if you're a new listener and you haven't listened to our episode, go back to some of our original episodes. Mm-hmm. They are a little bit lower on the quality because we, had less equipment, but they have great information. The one about, I can't even remember what it's titled, but it's basically about personal trainers, how to hire the right personal trainer,
like that.
What to look for in a personal trainer, certifications, how to recognize a bad personal trainer, those kind of things. We've done you're right. We did a recent episode on it.
We did. Not too long ago.
About how the training industry. We talked more about regulation in that one, though.
Absolutely, because that's when you and I spoke about it, and I was asking you questions.
Yeah, but if you're considering a trainer, definitely listen to those episodes before going and hunting for one, because it's not a regulated industry, and there's some great trainers out there, and there's a lot of crappy trainers too, because of that lack of regulation. Actually, I'll just throw this last one in there. It's kind of tied into the same thing, but number 6 is actually personal training. So that's becoming way more of a fitness trend.
Those are kind of together. So.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So
cool.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add to that?
I say call it.
Awesome. Well, guys and gals, that is those are the top 5 to 6 trends in America with fitness right now as of this last year. It's what is most popular in health and fitness. To review, number 1, we had wearable technology, so like Fitbits and those kind of things, bodyweight training, high intensity interval training, strength training, and more education and experience for fitness professionals, and then personal training. So that's what's trending in America with fitness. Until next time,
see ya.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Shane and I hope you learned something new and exciting today about your own health and fitness. Head over to metabolicradio.com. There you'll find our bios and our results-driven programs that are designed to help teach you everything you need to know when it comes to getting real permanent results. You can also sign up for our newsletter to get free weekly updates. To chat with Shane or I, just email us at taylor@metabolicradio.com or shane@metabolicradio.com. We would love to hear from you. You can also join the conversation on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and search for Metabolic Radio Private Forum. There you can request to join the group. We would love to add you to the conversation and answer your questions on the show. And hey, if you like our podcast, please help us grow our community by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. We would really appreciate your help. Thanks again so much for all your support and your listenership. Now go out there and spread the good word of fitness.